Have you ever wondered if all that money going into big international projects is, well, actually doing any good? Today, we're diving into the world of the people whose entire job is to make sure it does. We're talking about development consultants. I mean, think about it. Every single year, billions of dollars are invested in projects meant to improve lives all over the globe. But the big question is, how much of that is actually hitting the mark? And maybe more importantly, how do we even know? Well, it really boils down to three key things. First, effectiveness. Did that new school actually improve education? Second, accountability. Who's on the hook if it didn't? And finally, learning. What did we get wrong last time so we can get it right the next time? These three ideas are pretty much the bedrock of any good development work. So, to really get a grip on what these consultants do, let's try an analogy. If you think of a massive development project as a patient, then the development consultants, they're the doctors. Yeah, exactly. They're like a team of specialists brought in for a really complex case. Their job is to diagnose the real underlying needs of a community, monitor the project's health as it's underway, and ultimately make sure it has a long, successful life. Now, if you want the more formal definition, a development consultancy is basically an expert group that evaluates policies and programs. But they do it with one goal in mind, and it's a big one, to maximize the effectiveness of an investment. It's all about getting the absolute best bang for your buck. And who are their patients? Well, the list is pretty long. We're talking about everyone from national governments and huge international donors to small nonprofits working on the ground, and even private sector entrepreneurs and other institutions. Okay, so if they're the doctors, what's in their medical bag? What's in their toolkit? How do they actually go about making sure a project stays healthy and succeeds? Let's break it down. A consultant's work really covers the entire life of a project, from the very first spark of an idea to long after the ribbon has been cut. You can basically see it in four main stages. It all starts with step one, the blueprint. This is absolutely critical. It's where they do the deep dive research to figure out what a community actually needs, not just what some outsider thinks they need. Get this part right, and the whole project is built on solid ground. Then you've got step two, the check-in. See, you can't just set a project in motion and walk away. Consultants are constantly monitoring progress, checking the data. So, for example, if a new farming program isn't reaching the people it was designed for, they can spot that early and help make adjustments right away. Next up is step three, the final exam. Just because a project is officially done doesn't mean the work is over. Now it's time for a really deep evaluation to measure the real impact. Did it actually change lives for the better? Is it sustainable? This is where you find out if it was a true success. And last, but definitely not least, is step four, the knowledge transfer. This is so important. It's not just about one single project succeeding. It's about making sure that success can happen again and again. So they train local teams, build up their skills, and use all the lessons they learned to help create smarter policies down the road. But here's the thing. It's not just about following a process. It's about the people. And specifically, it's about blending two very different but equally crucial kinds of expertise. So on one side, you have your international experts. These are the folks who bring in global best practices and really understand the complex standards that donors require. But on the other side, you have the local teams, who provide something you just can't import, a deep, crucial understanding of the local context and culture. And here's the secret sauce. You can't just pick one. You absolutely need both. A brilliant international plan can completely fall flat if it ignores local customs. And a great local idea might never get off the ground if it can't meet global funding standards. The real magic happens when you integrate them. And to make that integration work, you need a team with a pretty amazing range of skills. We're talking about everything from social and cultural studies to economics, environmental science, gender analysis, and policy design. It has to be this multidisciplinary approach because the challenges themselves are so complex. So, let's bring this all back to that big question we started with. How do we make sure these massive, often life-changing investments actually matter? At the end of the day, a consultant's job isn't to help an organization spend its budget. No, the real goal is to make sure that money creates real, tangible, and, this is the most important part, lasting change in people's lives. And what's cool is that this approach, this way of thinking, it works at any scale. The principles of smart planning, careful monitoring, and honest evaluation, they're just as vital for a small local initiative as they are for a huge multi-million-dollar infrastructure project.
This quote from our source material really just nails it. The mission is to help the donors, governments, implementing agencies, and entrepreneurs to maximize the effectiveness of their investment. Every single part of that sentence is key. So I'll leave you with this thought. What if this level of expert planning, this kind of rigorous oversight and honest evaluation, wasn't just for a handful of projects? What if it was the standard for every major investment we make, in our own communities and around the world? Just think about the kind of difference that could make. Thanks for joining me.